It was a calm morning in Chelmsford, England. The kind of morning where the air feels still, quiet, and peaceful. But that calm was suddenly broken by shouting coming from a small apartment on Tennyson Road. Neighbors froze. Then, just as suddenly as it began, the noise stopped. Silence. A heavy, uneasy silence. Hours later, police would arrive to find a scene so disturbing that even the most seasoned officers were shaken. Inside was 19-year-old Ashley Wadsworth, a bright, kind-hearted young woman from Canada. She had crossed the world to be with the man she thought she loved, a man named Jack Sepple. What she found instead was horror. Ashley Wadsworth was born on July 25, 2002, in Vernon, British Columbia. She was the youngest daughter of Kenneth and Christy and grew up surrounded by a large, close-knit family. Ashley was full of life, outgoing, funny, adventurous. She loved swimming, horseback riding, skiing, and even played the clarinet. Her friends described her as the kind of person who could light up a room. She was always the one making everyone laugh. Ashley loved her family deeply, especially her niece Paisley, who she treated almost like a little sister. But like many teenagers, Ashley spent a lot of time online, connecting with people from around the world. And that's where she met him, a boy from England named Jack Sepple. Their friendship began in 2015. Ashley was 12, Jack was 15. What started as casual chatting turned into something much deeper. They bonded over jokes, interests, and late-night talks. Jack seemed charming, funny, confident, and a little mysterious. Ashley's family knew about him. They thought it was harmless. Over the years, the two stayed in touch, even as they grew older. But slowly, Jack's behavior began to change. He started sending Ashley expensive gifts, clothes, teddy bears, even money. And then came the jealousy. He wanted to know who she talked to, where she went. When she blocked him, he'd create new accounts just to reach her again. Ashley's parents thought it was odd, obsessive even. But Ashley was young, impressionable, and convinced that Jack was just passionate. By 2018, when she turned 16, she started telling friends that one day she wanted to meet him in person. Her family refused to let her travel alone, worried for her safety. But Ashley's fascination with Jack never faded. In late 2021, Ashley was 19, independent, working small jobs and saving money. And finally, she made a bold decision. She would fly to England to finally meet Jack. On November 12, 2021, Ashley left Canada on a 6-month tourist visa. The next day, she landed at Gatwick Airport and met Jack for the very first time. At first, everything looked perfect. Photos of the couple flooded Ashley's social media. Smiling selfies, cozy moments, captions filled with hearts. They even adopted a puppy named Winston. But behind those smiles, something darker was growing. Jack lived alone in a small apartment in Chelmsford. He was unemployed, often smoking cannabis and staying inside. Soon, he began isolating Ashley from everyone. He didn't want her speaking to neighbors. He didn't want her going out. And when Ashley tried to attend church, something that had always brought her peace, Jack forbade it. She continued to text her church friends in secret, hiding messages from him. Those friends would later say that they saw clear signs of control and emotional abuse. Ashley confided that she knew she deserved better, but she just wanted to make Jack happy. About 6 weeks after Ashley's arrival, Jack's temper exploded. In a jealous rage, he struck her. He later texted his mother, admitting what he'd done. Ashley hid her bruises and kept up the happy online facade. To outsiders, she still looked like the same cheerful Canadian girl living a dream in England. But privately, she began saving photos of her injuries. Her sister Haley knew something was very wrong. But when she begged Ashley to come home, Ashley refused. She didn't want her family to hate Jack. Then things got worse. Jack tried to take his own life after a violent argument. Ashley called an ambulance and saved him. And after that, she became his caregiver. She was responsible for giving him medication from a locked box. Even as her mother pleaded for her to come home, Ashley insisted that she could help him heal. But Jack's violent outbursts didn't stop. In early January 2022, he smashed a beer glass over her head during another argument. Haley saw it unfold on a video call, Jack shouting in the background as Ashley tried to clean up the glass. Still, she stayed. By late January, Ashley seemed ready to leave. She told Haley that she wanted to come home. Her family immediately booked her a return flight for February 3rd. Jack agreed to take her to the airport, but tension was rising fast. On February 1st, 2022, neighbors heard shouting through the walls. Ashley was seen banging on a neighbor's door, barefoot, crying, bleeding from her hand. She told them Jack had thrown their puppy and smashed her phone. The neighbor begged to call the police. Ashley said no. She didn't want to make things worse. Minutes later, she went back inside. That was the last time anyone saw her alive. Around 11 a.m., Ashley spoke to her family for the final time. She told them she was leaving in 2 days. Jack sat beside her, silent. Soon after, he messaged his mother, admitting he had attacked Ashley again. No one responded. Sometime between 12:38 and 12:45 p.m., everything ended. Jack strangled Ashley, and when she stopped breathing, he stabbed her more than 90 times. He then sat next to her body, played video games, and changed his profile. Picture to one of them together. The caption read, "Always mine." He even recorded a video message to Ashley's sister, apologizing and saying he couldn't let her go. Ashley's body was visible in the background. That afternoon, friends from Canada grew worried after receiving disturbing messages. They contacted a friend in Chelmsford who went to check on Ashley. When no one answered the door, he called police. At 4:13 p.m., officers entered the apartment. Inside, they found Ashley's body, and Jack, covered in blood. He confessed on the spot. He claimed he had a psychotic episode. But toxicology reports later showed he was sober, just cannabis and prescription medication in his system. Jack was arrested and charged with murder. At trial, Jack pled guilty. The judge told him there could be only one sentence: life imprisonment. But for Ashley's family, the trial revealed even more horror. They learned that Jack had a long history of violence, going back to when he was 15. He had harassed girls online, hacked their accounts, assaulted his mother, and even imprisoned past partners in his home. Several restraining orders had been issued, but he kept violating them. None of that history appeared online. Ashley's father said he had searched Jack's name before her trip and found nothing. In October 2022, Jack Sepple was sentenced to life in prison with the possibility of parole after 23 years. Ashley's family flew to England for the sentencing. They sat in the courtroom, listening to details no parent should ever hear. But even in their grief, they spoke about forgiveness and awareness. Back home, her community raised funds to bring her body home to Canada. Her funeral was held on February 23, 2022, streamed online so everyone could say goodbye. The leftover donations went toward a scholarship and a domestic violence foundation in her name. A year later, her sister Haley said she sometimes felt Ashley's presence, lights flickering, doors moving, as if Ashley was still watching over them. Her father now campaigns for better access to criminal history information. He believes that if they'd known about Jack's past, Ashley might still be alive. Ashley Wadsworth was only 19. She was kind, trusting, and full of dreams that ended far too soon. Her story is a tragic reminder of how love can blind even the brightest souls, and how control and manipulation can hide behind affection. In the United Kingdom, Clare's law allows people to request information about a partner's history of abuse, but many, like Ashley's family, never know it exists until it's too late. If you or someone you know is in an abusive relationship, please reach out for help. There are people and organizations ready to listen without judgment, because behind every headline, there's a life that mattered. Ashley's story must never be forgotten.